Hamas has not taken any hostages in February 2025. For 15 months, Hamas and Gaza, in fact, have been punished with relentless attacks, devastation, and over 48,000 deaths. The West Bank region of Palestine has not been involved in this conflict, as its leadership has maintained. So why is Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, thirsting to start another war against Palestine, this time against the West Bank? Even at the harsh cost of keeping 63 hostages still in Hamas captivity. Is the answer that war will eliminate Israel's enemies, or that continued war will keep his political opponents at bay and keep him in office? That's the question the world is asking, if still in undertones. In fact, for the first time in over 2 decades, Israeli tanks have entered the area, raising alarm about what comes next. Israel's military campaign, dubbed Operation Iron Wall, has targeted northern West Bank since last month, mere days after the Gaza ceasefire took effect. Now the IDF has deployed a tank platoon to Jenin, a city that has long been a flashpoint of Palestine resistance. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the military push is aimed towards eliminating quote-unquote terrorist strongholds and dismantling what he calls terror infrastructure. Katz further said that Israel would continue clearing Palestinian refugee camps, specifically targeting battalions operating in these areas. And Katz's plans, by the way, go even further. He has reportedly instructed the Israeli military to prepare for an extended presence in these refugee camps for the coming year. Katz claims that 40,000 residents from Jenin, Tulkarm, and Nur Sham's refugee camps have already been displaced as part of the operation. According to reports, Israel has left a trail of widespread destruction in these camps. These Palestinian refugee camps were set up to house those displaced in the 1948 war that led to Israel's creation. And according to reports, Israel is not just seeking temporary control, but a long-term military entrenchment in the West Bank. The Palestinian Health Ministry has reported at least 27 deaths in Jenin and 70 across the West Bank since the start of the year itself. This is reportedly the deadliest Israeli offensive in the region since 2002, when tanks last rolled into the West Bank. Meanwhile, in a statement, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry has condemned Israeli actions, calling them a pretext for a broader Israeli annexation, further warning that this escalation is leading to a larger conflict, and condemned the deployment of heavy tanks, calling it a deliberate act of aggression. Mustafa Barghouti, the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative, in a post on X, stated that Israel is effectively reoccupying the West Bank and sidelining the Palestinian Authority entirely. Meanwhile, tensions in Gaza are also boiling over. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is crumbling in a wave, with both sides accusing each other of violating agreements. Netanyahu has made it clear that Israel stands ready to resume military operations in Gaza at any moment, insisting that the war's objectives will be met whether through negotiations or by force. Listen in.
We are prepared to resume intense fighting at any moment. Our operational plans are ready.
According to reports, Israel's military presence near Gaza has also increased, with operational plans in place for renewed combat. Netanyahu's firm stance comes amid reports of cracks in the ceasefire deal. Hamas recently released 6 Israeli hostages, remember, but Israel refused to release the 600 Palestinian prisoners it had pledged in return. Netanyahu's office cited the alleged mistreatment of the hostages as justification for the delay. And Hamas has now refused to engage in further ceasefire discussions, reportedly until the agreed-upon prisoner release occurs. All of this raising a crucial question. Does Netanyahu need war to stay on in power? His political future reportedly looks rather uncertain. Israeli polls from December indicating that if elections were held today, Netanyahu's rivals would secure a majority in the parliament. But here's the reality. Without peace, elections remain unlikely. And without elections, Netanyahu stays in power. While Israel plans its next move, Iran is not standing still. In fact, it is mobilizing. Iran's military has conducted large-scale drills along its southern coast, extending into the Sea of Oman. Dubbed Zulfikar 1403, these exercises reportedly integrate new warfare technologies and combat tactics. And the message from Tehran is clear. Iran is preparing for a potential confrontation, signaling that any escalation by Israel could trigger a broader regional conflict. And as the situation in West Asia worsens, the next steps from any side could determine whether the situation explodes into a full-blown regional war, taking things a step further, or remains at boiling point. As of now, one thing is certain: peace is nowhere in sight. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.